Hello, welcome. I'm Pauline from PQW and I'd love to introduce you to our nested hexagon set. These are a tool we designed up quite some time ago because I love doing hexagons. It was my very first piece of patchwork I did way back when. I just loved learning how to create that wonderful shape and stitch it together by hand. You know, I've moved on from that a bit now since I started doing that, but it was always a challenge how to get that neat hexagon. And I know that you can buy all the papers and cardboards now cut to different sizes for hexagons, but let me just show you some of the things that you can do with this set. So we have all of these sizes ranging from 4.5 inches right down to 1 inch. So they all pull apart. So we have our seam allowance here. So if we cut our fabric here onto the outside edge, we then have that seam allowance to turn over. But we'll go through and show you a few different things. So they all, as I said, they all pull apart. They're very sturdy. But I'm going to use these two to start with, just to do some basic English paper piecing. Now, we can cut our cardboard with one, use that as for our cardboard, and we'll cut our fabric with this one. So when we cut the fabric, we're going to be using the outside edge. Or you could just use that one. You could trace your cardboards from this one and your fabric from that one. So whichever way you want to go. Now, I just use all my old Christmas cards and everything that I get. So if we're going to be doing this, we just, as normal, we just trace it on. Cut out on the line till we get all of our cardboards, and you can nest them together so you're not getting a lot of waste when you're doing this. But old cereal box, this is the way it was always used to be done. But you know, modern technology has led us into the pre-cut ones. But if you didn't want a pre-cut, you can make your own. So once you get that done, cut them out like we have here. Then we'll use this one to draw onto the fabric. Now, a little hint when you're drawing onto your fabric, I would prefer to use my sandpaper board, this board here, because I find if I was to draw straight onto here, as I trace, my fabric wants to stretch. So we'll remove this one, bring this one in. And this is why I love these little workboards, because you have everything in one. So we're going to put our fabric down with the wrong side up. Just press it onto the sandpaper, and then you can see it's not going to move. Once again, be conservative with your fabric. Trace around the outside edge, and you can see my fabric's not stretching as I draw. Now, if you didn't want to draw that, there's no reason why you can't go straight to your cutting mat. And you could use the rotary cutter and cut around this because it's nice thick plastic. So we could just cut around this with the little blade. So whether you cut out directly with the blade or whether you draw it on and then cut out with scissors, but even if you didn't want to cut out with scissors, with the little blade cutting on that line, you can see exactly where you're cutting. So I love this little mini cutter. It really works brilliantly for doing this sort of thing. So once you get them all cut out, we're ready to start covering our papers. And you know, that's a very simple step. Here we have our fabric cut out, different fabrics. We get our cardboard, lay it in. Now, a lot of times people turn this over and they do like a running stitch, a tacking stitch through the cardboard. I think that's too hard. You know, these days everybody glues, so I do the same thing. Just put a little bit of glue. Oops, that's way too much. Let's get rid of a little bit of that. I'll come back and use that later. I'll put it back onto the stick. And you know the glue sticks wind up and down, and I can just pat that glue back into place so I don't waste it. Then we just cover. So just go all the way around, and it's such a simple step. And then you're just simply going to hand stitch those hexagons together. So I just love them because, you know, there's no reason why you couldn't do hexagons this big. So this would be our cardboard size, this would be our fabric size, or That would be our cardboard size if you want to just cut your cardboard out with a little cutter, but don't use your good blade. Use an old blade to cut your paper or your cardboard. So you can see how they can all nest together and help you in efficiency of time and using up what you've already got. So there's just for those English paper piecings. Now, if we were going to make a little quilt like this one, just love this little thing, but we've used the hexagons to do this whole thing. So I'm just going to show you briefly how you can construct a quilt like this, where you can use a feature fabric, you can fussy cut. The hexagons make it wonderful to fussy cut. This is all machine stitched. So let's take you through and show you how we've achieved that. With our backing fabric, whatever we're going to use for our backing, this is one I've already cut out, but I've used the largest hexagon, and do the same as what I explained before. You can either trace it onto your fabric or you can cut it out directly with the rotary cutter. That's your backing fabric. Now we're going to put the next size, we're going to put 2 together for this because I want a big seam allowance. So I want that full seam allowance. So we put the next one on it. We're going to go to our sandpaper part of our board once again, and this is just a little tip so that things don't stretch. And if you don't have a 3-in-1 workboard, just get yourself a nice piece of fine sandpaper from the hardware store and glue it onto a solid board. But I love my 3-in-1 workboard. So now I'm going to trace what will become my stitching line, because when I machine this I need to know exactly where to start and stop. So there's, oops, I missed one. So I can put this back on, and this is a good thing about these, they're so user-friendly. So there's my stitching lines. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pin these, and I'm going to machine stitch from this point here to this point here. And I'm going to go through and join all my backings together like that. So that's how I've got them all joined. Then when I want to cut out my feature fabric, like this one here, I can decide what little element of that print I want to use. I can put my inside template, because we want it to be this size. It's the inside of that, or you could use this one, whichever one you wish. We can now centre that, so I can get that little fairy centred into that section here. So I would trace around there, then I would cut my batting out the same size. So we have our batting cut out to the size, we have our feature fabric cut out to size. We'll just cut one of those out so you can see exactly what we're going to do. So we'll get that all the way around. We'll cut that out. Just bring the board back over. We then will iron the batting to the back of this, because I use the Hobbs Heirloom double-sided fusible batting. We'll press the 2 layers together. Then we're going to lay that onto the backing fabric. Then we fold the backing fabric over to the front, and then we stitch it down. Now, if you find that you can't just cut on the line like that, remember you can cut around the template, or this is a fabulous little tool, the little 1-inch ruler. You can put that down and you can cut on the edge of that ruler. So that's just some tips for cutting out, fussy cutting out your pieces. Now we'll fold this back over. Put these 2 pieces together. Now I do recommend the Hobbs fusible batting for this, because if I didn't use this lovely fusible batting, I would have to pin all of this, which will make it difficult for the next step. And the batting's just wonderful. It just adheres really nicely. It's not sticking to my ironing board. We come back now. We open up these seams. We lay this down. So it fits inside that seam allowance just perfect. Press with the hot iron to adhere the other side of the batting to the backing fabric. Then all we do is fold this over back to that edge of that feature fabric. Fold it over, use your glue stick. Oops, there's that bit that keeps coming off. Fold over and press. So I just glue, fold and press. So you just go all the way around and fold the edges over. Then you have your two colours coming together. So mix up your backs. Use up all your stash. It just makes for a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful I Spy quilt for your children. You know, any feature fabric can be used here. We then go with the machine and we stitch really close on the edge of all those folded pieces. So it's a very, very simple process. But that is why I designed up these tools and how we can have so much fun with them. So enjoy your nested hexagon set. I'd love to see what you create. So share with us what you're going to do. But watch all of our other YouTube videos because there's lots and lots of things on there that we love to teach people. So subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get a notification every time we put a new video out for you. Just simply hit that bell and then you'll get that notification. Have a look at our website because we've got some wonderful tools there for you. So our website is www.pqw.com.au. So happy stitching till we meet again. Bye for now.